There is a parable as follows. A man, after his death, arrived in heaven. There, he saw Buddha and Jesus reading books together. He approached them and asked, "My Lord, what is eternal in this world?" Buddha replied, "Let me tell you a story. In a vast, magnificent, and glorious kingdom, there ruled a powerful king whose might was unmatched by any known before him. His wealth surpassed even the wildest dreams. His palace was adorned with shimmering gold. Its chambers overflowed with treasures of sparkling jewels, mountains of silver and gold, and hundreds of servants who stood ready day and night to fulfill his every whim, no matter how small. From lavish garments woven with the finest silk to extravagant feasts that stretched for hours, featuring rare delicacies from every corner of the world. The king seemed to possess everything a human could ever desire. Yet, despite this unparalleled abundance, a void lingered deep within his soul, one he could never fill. True peace and contentment eluded him. Day after day, he was haunted by the fear of losing his power, his riches, and even his very life, a shadow that clung to him relentlessly. One summer evening, after a grand banquet filled with lively music and the mesmerizing dances of skilled performers, the king sought a moment of solitude. Leaving the clamor of the great hall behind, he stepped into the royal gardens, where meticulously tended flower beds stretched endlessly before him. The cool air carried the gentle fragrance of jasmine, and a soft breeze rustled through the trees, weaving a soothing symphony of nature. But even this breathtaking beauty could not calm the turmoil in his anxious heart. His mind churned with thoughts of hidden enemies, palace intrigues, and the fragile nature of the throne he had fought so hard to secure. As he wandered along a winding stone path, the king paused beneath an ancient fig tree, its sprawling branches casting a cool shade. There, at the tree's base, sat a beggar. The man's clothes were tattered and threadbare, his bare feet caked with dust on the cold earth, and his hands empty of any worldly possession. Yet what struck the king most was the beggar's face. It radiated an extraordinary serenity. His eyes twinkled like stars, and a faint, gentle smile graced his lips, simple yet profound. The stark contrast between this man's humble existence and the king's own opulent life sparked a mix of curiosity and bewilderment in the monarch. Intrigued and somewhat perplexed, the king approached the beggar and stood before him. With a voice that carried both authority and a hint of doubt, he asked, "You have nothing, no home to shelter you, no wealth to rely on, no shred of power in your grasp. Yet here you sit, smiling as if you were the happiest man alive. I want to know why. How can you be this way?" The beggar lifted his gaze to meet the king's, his eyes calm and fathomless. He bowed his head slightly in respect, then replied in a soft yet steady voice, "Your Majesty, allow me to ask you this. Do you truly possess all that you hold?" The king furrowed his brow, finding the question odd and almost offensive to his pride. He answered sharply, his tone brimming with confidence, "Of course I do. This entire kingdom, from the towering mountains to the endless plains, belongs to me. No one can deny that." The beggar let out a faint chuckle, not mocking but gentle, like a breeze passing through. He continued, his voice still calm, but laced with deep understanding. "But, Your Majesty, when the day comes that you leave this world, will you be able to take any of it with you?" The question struck the king like an arrow to the mind. He stood frozen, speechless. For the first time in his life, he faced a query so simple yet so staggering that it left him reeling. Seeing the king's silence, the beggar spoke on, his words planting seeds of reflection in the monarch's heart. "You see, Your Majesty, everything you possess, your splendid palace, your glittering treasures, and even the supreme power you wield, is but temporary. They do not truly belong to you, just as they never truly belonged to anyone before you. One day, when you are gone, another king will ascend your throne, live in this palace, walk through this garden, and claim it all as theirs, just as you do now. But in the end, they too will depart, leaving everything behind empty-handed, no different from you or those who ruled before." The king's face darkened as the words sank in. A chill ran down his spine, but he pressed back, his voice now tinged with frustration. "And what of you? You have nothing of value to your name. Are you saying that you possess more than I, a king who rules this entire realm?" The beggar smiled again, his expression as tranquil and genuine as ever. He replied, "Your Majesty, I possess nothing at all, and because of that, I have nothing to lose. I don't worry about safeguarding riches, fear enemies stealing power, or trouble myself with schemes of rivalry. My happiness doesn't rest in gold, jewels, or grand thrones. It lives in each breath I take, in the warm sunlight filtering through the leaves each morning, in the cheerful songs of birds in the open sky, and above all, in the deep peace within my soul. True wealth, Your Majesty, isn't found in what we can clutch tightly in our hands, but in what we can let go of and still feel whole." The king fell silent, his eyes widening as if glimpsing a truth he had never considered in all his years. Slowly, he turned his gaze across the royal garden, where vibrant blossoms glowed under the silvery moonlight. He looked further, toward the towering palace with its lofty domes and fluttering banners. He saw the guards standing at attention, their gleaming spears held high, ever vigilant to shield him from any threat. But for the first time in his life, a strange emptiness crept into his chest. All his days, he had lived to amass, to hold, to protect what he deemed precious. Yet now, he realized that when his final moment arrived, he too would leave it all behind, taking nothing with him, just like countless others before. As a full moon hung luminous in the kingdom sky, casting a gentle glow over the land, the beggar rose to his feet. He offered the king a final, respectful bow, then turned and walked away, his frail figure fading into the quiet night. The king remained where he stood, alone in the vast garden, his mind awash with thoughts. The breeze still whispered through the air, carrying the faint scent of jasmine, but this time he didn't just hear nature's sounds. He felt a murmur from within his own heart, a voice he had long forgotten. The Buddha taught, "Nothing truly belongs to you. Even the self you believe you have is merely an illusion. You came into this world empty-handed, and when you leave, you will take nothing with you. Your body will one day grow old and return to dust. Your emotions change from moment to moment. Happiness turns into sorrow. Love turns into hatred. Even your thoughts, which seem to be yours alone, are shaped by your surroundings, circumstances, and time. If none of these things truly define you, then what are you? Everything is impermanent, like the flowing river. Nothing remains still. Nothing can be held on to forever. We cling to fame, wealth, relationships, even this physical body, but in the end, everything drifts away like leaves carried by the stream. Only when we let go of attachment can we find true peace." Jesus also taught about the impermanence of the world and the danger of attachment. He said, "For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it." 1 Timothy 6, verse 7. Wealth, fame, power, everything people crave will all eventually fade away. Jesus did not say that we should not possess things, but he warned that if our minds are bound to them, we will lose the most important thing, our soul. There's a story about a wealthy king and a beggar that goes like this. Long ago, in a monastery atop a mountain, there lived a renowned Zen master known for his deep wisdom. People from all over came to seek his guidance on life and enlightenment. One day, one of his closest disciples, a young man named Kaido, brought him a beautiful porcelain cup. He carefully placed it before his master and said, "Master, this is the only thing I have left from my family. It reminds me of my parents, of my childhood. I'm afraid that one day it will break." The Zen master smiled, gently picked up the cup, examined it for a moment, and then set it down. He looked at Kaido and said, "I see that this cup is already broken." Kaido was stunned. He quickly looked at the cup. It was still intact. "But, Master, the cup is still here. It's not broken." The master took a sip of tea and replied calmly, "Kaido, do you not see? One day, this cup will fall and shatter. That is inevitable. Right now it is whole, but in its nature, it is already broken. If you understand this now, you will no longer fear losing it." Kaido pondered his master's words. He thought he understood. But a few days later, while cleaning the cup, his hand slipped. Crash! The cup fell to the ground, shattering into countless pieces. Kaido froze, staring at the broken fragments. The master approached, his gaze filled with understanding. Do you see now? The cup was already broken before it ever fell. The moment it shattered was just a realization of what was always meant to be. But if you had accepted this truth beforehand, would you still feel sorrow? Kaido looked at the broken pieces, and slowly his expression softened. From that day on, he no longer feared loss. He realized that nothing truly belonged to him. Everything comes and goes, like autumn leaves carried by the wind. When we accept that nothing is permanent, we no longer fear losing. When we understand that everything is already broken from the moment it exists, we learn to cherish it in each passing moment. Everything is already broken. It just hasn't shattered yet. Have you ever wondered what truly belongs to you? We come into this world with nothing, and when we leave, we take nothing with us. Yet, throughout our lives, we are constantly seeking, holding on, and fearing the loss of what we believe is ours. From the moment we are born, we are taught to attach meaning to things. Our names, our families, our possessions, our achievements, everything becomes part of our identity. We say, "This is my house. These are my children. This is my success," as if these things define who we are. And because we believe they belong to us, we fear losing them. But what if we are wrong? What if nothing truly belongs to us? Think about it. Your body, did you create it? No, it was given to you. Your thoughts, are they truly yours? They come and go, shaped by the world around you. Even your emotions, your desires, your memories, none of them stay forever. Everything is constantly changing, constantly flowing, like a river that never stands still. Yet, we live as if we can control everything. We spend our lives accumulating wealth, relationships, power, recognition, thinking that the more we have, the more secure we will feel. But the truth is, the more we cling, the more we suffer. Imagine a person grasping a handful of sand. The tighter they squeeze, the more the sand slips through their fingers. This is how life works. The harder we try to hold on to things, the more they escape us. Wealth can be lost overnight. Relationships can end. Power can fade. And no matter how much we resist, time will take everything away. If your happiness depends on these things, then your happiness will always be fragile, like a candle flickering in the wind, ready to be extinguished at any moment. But what if, instead of clinging, you could learn to let go? Letting go does not mean giving up. It does not mean you should not care or that you should live without ambition. It simply means understanding the nature of life. Everything is temporary. Everything is borrowed. When you understand this, you stop trying to possess people. You stop expecting them to stay the same forever. You love them for who they are in the present moment, without trying to control or own them. And when they must leave, whether by choice or by fate, you can let them go with peace in your heart. When you understand this, you stop letting material things define your worth. You may enjoy wealth, but you no longer fear its loss. You may strive for success, but you do not base your entire identity on it. Whether you win or lose, whether you rise or fall, you remain the same inside, unchanged, peaceful, whole. Letting go is freedom. It means you can experience everything in life fully without being enslaved by anything. Consider this. If you truly understood that nothing belongs to you, what would you fear? If you accepted that everything is temporary, would you still be so desperate to hold on? Think about the seasons. In spring, flowers bloom. In autumn, leaves fall. No tree mourns the loss of its leaves because it knows they were never truly its to begin with. Everything in nature follows its rhythm, coming and going, appearing and disappearing. It is only we as humans who resist this natural flow. We try to make things permanent in a world that is designed to change. But no matter how much we resist, change will come. The only question is, will you suffer through it or will you embrace it? You do not own your past. It is gone. You do not own your future. It has not arrived. The only thing you have is this moment. And even this moment is slipping away as you read these words. So, what will you do with it? If you let go of your need to control, if you surrender to the ever-changing nature of life, you will find something extraordinary, a deep sense of peace. A peace that does not depend on circumstances. A peace that remains even when everything else fades. The truth is, You do not truly own anything, not even yourself. Your body will age. Your thoughts will shift. Your emotions will come and go like clouds in the sky. If everything about you is constantly changing, then what is really you? The only thing that can never be lost is your true nature, your awareness, your understanding, and the vast openness of your soul. When you stop and look deeply within yourself, you will see that you are not the things you try to hold on to. You are not your successes or failures, not your status or reputation, not your relationships or possessions. You are the peace within. You are the stillness behind every thought, every emotion, and every experience. So, live each moment fully, but do not cling to anything. Love wholeheartedly, but do not fear loss. Strive for your dreams, but do not let the outcome control you. Give freely, and you will realize you are richer than you ever imagined. In the end, letting go does not mean losing. Letting go means finding yourself.